for those of you out there, the band is Isaurian. Uh, they have a new album out, came out November 25th. So yesterday when we recorded
October,
this.
no, October 25th.
Oh, October. So a month ago
Yeah,
yesterday.
a month ago, yes.
I don't know why I was thinking yesterday. I'm so focused on pumpkin pie and turkey here. Um,
Yeah, it's what's the name? Thanksgiving, right? Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So the album is The Pulsing Rush. And um, I've got to say, it is a beautiful, beautiful piece of work from start to finish.
Thank you so much, man.
Just wow. Um,
Thanks, man.
I- it's so like consistent throughout it, and it feels like every song leads into the next. So it's not like seven individual songs. It's just one giant piece of work, which is
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
thank you so much, Tom. Thank you very much. That means a lot, really. And I'm an album guy. I don't think I'll ever be like a singles guy, you know.
Yeah.
That's just me. That's the way I learn how to listen to music and make music. So, obviously we release singles here and there before the album, but I always think of an album as a whole, you know?
Yeah, I think that's why I like about like a lot of underground bands is the album is the art versus the single. You know,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
so when you find something that, especially, the pulsing rush, I'll say it a couple of times while we talk, I'm sure it is
Yeah.
just the way it starts with Heart Like a Curse and the way it ends with Murmurations. There is not a point in there that I ever thought like, man, I wish this was over. It was just like, oh, I hope this goes on forever because it's
Man, thank you so much. That's awesome. And you know that's also like my mindset. Like every song has to count, you know. I mean, I'm sure people will think that so, one song is better or worse than the other, but I always think like let's try to make a record with no fillers, you know. That's why we have released like not like super long albums, you know. We don't overstay our welcome. It's like 40 minutes, 45 minutes, seven songs, eight songs, six songs, and that's how I see it, man. Like every song has to count, has to make you feel something, you know.
yeah. Well, and I think, 40-45 minutes is about the right length for an album
I
because
agree. Yeah.
the majority of listeners, you get beyond that 45 minutes. And, even for us older folks who grew up listening to the 50, 60, 70-minute albums,
Yeah.
it's, you now, I mean, we're trained to be in like the singles world. You hear the song and then move on to something
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Um, so beyond that 45
And
minutes, people get burnt out.
exactly. And I mean, I think I love Mastodon. But I remember thinking like the last record, it has a lot of great songs, but it's like an 80-minute record or something.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we get distracted by the end, right? And we like to experience the album as a whole, but when it gets to like 65 minutes or so or 60 minutes, it's like, okay, let's see how many songs are left here, you know. And that's kind of the compromise that I think we make. Like I mean, we are probably close to age, you know. I'm like almost 40, and we have lived similar phases in music.
Yeah.
But I think that's exactly right, man. Like 45 minutes today, because we live in this current times, and it's like impossible not to, especially in the streaming era, right? It's like we can't like listen to an album without getting distracted after 60 minutes or so. I don't know why, but that's that's kind of like the sign of the times, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, now I was just thinking about this earlier today is like like I wake up at 5 in the morning and my day starts there,
Yeah,
and I'll go till 10 o'clock tonight. And I'm like, how can I fit more into the
yeah,
hours that I'm awake? So
yeah,
those long albums, like it's great when you've got a long drive, not terrible, but most of us are going from home to work or to the store or to the get kids and back home. It's not,
exactly.
we're not spending hours in the car. So you're looking for something that's a little more that fits a little better into your schedule.
Perfect. I couldn't put it better myself. Perfect. Yeah.
So what was the writing process for the Pulsing Rush like for you?
Um, it's always different with our records. This one, we wrote it like during like 1 year, 1 year and a half. I always start writing a record like a couple of months after I release a record. That's I. It's not that I get like how do I say it in English? Tired of the record I just released, but usually after like 2, 3 months, I have moved on like
Yeah,
creatively. So I'm like, okay, I need to do more music and all. And this one particularly, it started, the writing started like right after we released Deep Sleep Metaphysics, which was the our previous record. And it was I'd say probably a little more challenging because a lot of shit happened in this particular phase of our lives, like individually, like diseases and death in the family and all. And so to stay focused on the writing, um, between all the things that life was throwing at us,
yeah,
but at the same time, I think it ended up being like a good like snapshot of this 1 year and a half. We almost didn't make the record because of all the stuff that happened, but at the same time, it made the record what it is. And but it was usually the I'm sorry for like mumbling, but we always write the records like I do it here at home at my home studio, and I bring it to the band. Like I usually bring like a full album written for them. It's like overwhelming. you know I was like, okay guys, what's up? We usually we haven't even met for like 6 months or so, and we're like, okay guys, I want to do another record. Are you guys in? These are the songs, let me know what you think. Let's sometimes I bring like 10 songs, and let's find 6, 7 or 8 songs that we feel like are really worth it making right now. And it was that, man. I seriously thought we weren't gonna make this record, but it ended up happening. And I always think like, okay, this one is gonna suck. This one is the one that people are gonna say, okay, we have moved on from Isaurian and all, but it always turns out much better than I think, man. And I'm really, really, really happy with the reception of the record.
yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that because I think, again, it's so phenomenal. I can only imagine what it was like to get in there and write and record. And uh, so, speaking of recording, do you guys record it
Yeah.
all in your studio?
No, we did this record in this really, I mean, the studio experience here in Brazil usually is different than in Europe or the USA, because studios here are like smaller, usually are smaller and and less equipped, because everything here is like 10 times more expensive than in Europe or in the USA, this sort of high-end equipment.
Yeah,
So, but I mean, we knew we're gonna, here in Brasilia, we're a band from Brasilia, right? The capital of Brazil. But it's not like the most. musical city of Brazil. You know, when we
Sure.
think of like usually more creative cities, they're like São Paulo, Curitiba, Belo Horizonte. Sepultura is from Belo Horizonte, right? And so we have less options here in Brasilia of studios, but we did in this tiny little studio called 1234. And actually, I just heard the news that it closed. You know, we're probably like one of the last records made there. And it was a beautiful little studio, but I'll tell you, um, Jesse Gander, you know, the producer, the Canadian producer that did Brutus, he mixed Rotten Sound and a bunch of really great bands. He was like the guy to really get every drop of amazing sound from the studio. You know, the lesson that I had as a Brazilian guy that lives the reality here, it's like if you have to save money, you know, save money in the studio, not in the producer, you know,
Oh yeah.
because I mean the difference that Jesse made in the record was unbelievable, unbelievable. And the studio was great, you know, but the experience of having Jesse in the studio, it was like the main thing to for the record to sound as great as it sounds. It's safe to say that it's our best sound record for sure.
Right on. I guess it makes a lot of sense, right? Because if you've got like a a capable guitar player, it doesn't matter what guitar they play on, it's gonna sound great. So
Perfect, perfect.
same thing
Yeah,
with the producer, right? Like it doesn't matter if you've
exactly.
got the high-end equipment or equipment from the 70s, if they know what they're doing, they're gonna pull those sounds out of the band and the equipment.
That's exactly it, man. And I know Jesse Gander has the studio in Vancouver that is huge, huge, beautiful, filled with equipment. And I was afraid like that, like it was gonna be like a kind of a thing for him, you know, like oh shit, like this is not what I'm used to work. Dude, not a second, you know, like he was like, okay, I can work with that. Let's do it. It's gonna. And from the very first moment, he said, we're not gonna compromise the sound. You know, it's gonna sound you're used to this amazing sounding records that I made, like the Brutus record, the three Brutus records that he did. Like it sounds so good, so crispy, so beautiful and heavy and big. They are like a three-piece band, but it sounds like it's like six people in the band. And from the very first moment, he said, "This record is gonna sound awesome. You guys can like quote me on that. You guys can come at me for that." And dude, he delivered. He's awesome for sure.
That's awesome. So you feel like obviously the money was well spent on him, but you feel like he pushed you guys to a new level also, like as musicians?
Absolutely, man. And in a way that I mean, he's like such a nice guy, such a nice guy, so sweet, and he we went like I said, we went through some stuff. We couldn't record vocals with him here. We ended up recording vocals a little in the studio in 1234 and a little in our home studio because we couldn't record the vocals when he was here. And he assured me like he was also very reassuring that we weren't going to really miss much with that, although we really wanted to record the vocals with him right in the room. We couldn't do it, but he at when we said that we couldn't do these vocals, he said okay, so we're gonna push harder in the instrumental while I'm here, right? And he was like, when we were working with these really great producers, we worked with some really great producers before him. I like putting some stuff in like fully in their hands, you know. I like I know I have a specific taste for tones and all, but I'm like, okay, what do you think? I want to achieve this sound. How can you help me with that? And he was like, he pushed us, and he was like super patient to explain everything, how he was getting those sounds out of each piece of equipment. And I'm not like a recording guy, like an engineer kind of guy. I do
Yeah.
some good sounding demos here, but I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. I'm just like, okay, I just do stuff till they sound good, but I don't know why they sound good. I'm not like, okay, let's equalize here. And no, I have no idea what I'm doing. So he was like very patient and very thorough, and just naturally made us do do our best there, not like being an asshole, or like, okay, you gotta, yeah. Uh, we really are also very strict with us, and he realized that. And so he just like was the perfect like vessel to make us sound great every second, every moment of the recording, it was awesome.
That's awesome. It's always great to like have that experience with someone, with someone on the production side because you always look to have that connection and that relationship. So moving forward, you can say, "Hey, I remember when we did this with, Jesse. Like, let's pull him back in because he knows how to turn those knobs and pull out of us what we really want to sound like."
Exactly, exactly. He's like the man. And he's not like, there's no justice in music. Like, like we have so many amazing bands that are kind of, under the radar, and he's a guy that I think should be like a way bigger producer, like he should be, let's think Rick Rubin, but I don't know. Rick Rubin is a very specific case, but he should be
Yeah,
like a expensive, rich fucking producer, man, because he knows his stuff. It's crazy, but he's still like on the underground league, I'd say. But he's amazing, man. I'd say like if you're in a rock band, do your record with him, really.
right on. So for you, like, what I guess what was the catalyst for this album? Was it just time to write a new album or to like dealing with all the shit you had going on? Was it like, oh, I got to get this out in an artistic form?
Man, it's a little bit of both. I feel like I, this the way that I make music, that I enjoy making music, even though we're not like a pro band in the sense that we're not like a touring band, and we all have our day jobs and all, but it's like an addiction. It's something that I've been doing since I'm 13, and I've been making records like for so long, and I just feel that there comes a moment that I feel like I'm missing a big chunk of my life if I'm not writing, if I'm not creative, and if I'm not doing this at the highest level that I can, So it's this weird kind of feeling that okay, I have to do this. Like it's not like I'm making any money with music, like
Right.
none. Actually, I have to see it as a hobby, like because I spend more money than I make. But so I mean, it's a weird thing, man. It's something that I have to do, and usually shit happening in life, it kind of adds creatively,
Yeah.
But the first thing that comes is this kind of instinct, like okay, it's time. It's something that is comes from within. It's stronger than myself, It's not logical. I mean, I see like, do I record too much? Do I release too much music? Like, because we've been like releasing for like two years, we've been releasing music, but I don't care, man. It's just I just follow this thing that comes within, That's it.
Yeah. Well, and I guess to the question, am I releasing too much music? Is
No.
it taking up more of your time than you want it to? Because if it is, then you're probably releasing too much music, right?
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. And I don't feel that way. You hit the nail on the head. I don't feel that way. I just kind of respect this thing. Sometimes if we listen to other people, we can like question ourselves, like, okay, oh, are you already you're gonna do another record? But it's always it's comes in one year and it's out the other, because I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, that's what I want to do. That's what I feel like doing. And that's it, man. This is the relationship that I have with music,
Well,
with making music.
I think most people should have that or should understand that relationship a little bit better, right? And I say most people, I don't mean the general public. I just mean like musicians, right? Because you
Yeah,
know when it's time to write and record a new album. Like if you're not at that point yet, it doesn't matter if it's been 6 months, 3 years, 5 years, like when it's time, it's time. Like that's the in my mind, everything, everything has its time, you know?
exactly. Exactly. And if you don't respect this time, like, some other bands, they sometimes they churn out like a new record because they feel like they have to, and that usually
Yeah.
it's not a good idea. It's gonna suck, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think I'll ever do that. But at the same time, I feel like, you know, you gotta respect how you feel. That's that's the part of the art that you have to maintain pure, I'd say.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I think the art has to be pure.
Exactly.
There's like I know too many bands have the pressure of the record labels and they're like,
Yeah.
I think my cat's about to show up. So
No problem. No problem at
yeah,
all. I love it.
here she is. Um,
I
but a lot of bands they have the
have
pressure
three
of the
birds. Your cat would probably like eat them.
I don't know, maybe she might just like
Instinct. I respect
yeah, fair. She
it.
might just watch him flutter off, but
Yeah.
we've got three dogs upstairs and they get close to her and she just like smack smack and they're like, okay, we'll back off. We're sorry. Uh,
Yeah, that's why I love cats, man. I respect them so much.
yeah. But I don't even know what I was saying now. Something about the art.
Yeah, the art. You maintain the art pure. That's what we
Oh
gotta do,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
When I was saying if I know a lot of bands that had the pressures of the labels and
exactly.
that pressure, I think it gets to be too much, right? Like, oh, I you had an album out last year, you better put something else out. You better get
Yeah,
out there touring. And it's like, hold on. Like I understand
exactly.
it, right? But if more bands took the recording on themselves financially and licensed the music out to labels, then there's no label pressure, right?
Exactly.
And they could do it
Yeah,
in their time, and the art is completely what they
yeah,
feel it should be.
exactly. I wish more people did that. But it, it's music. The music industry has been changing like fast, I'd say, not slowly, fast, right?
Very fast, yeah.
But you know, we see like people selling their catalogs and stuff like that, and it's so different, man. I don't know if we were like a big band, how we were gonna like deal with all this stuff, but I, I mean, I'd love to make money. I'd love to fucking make a lot of money with music, but at the same time, I know that the art thing that we were talking about, it's so much easier to maintain pure, as we said, as an independent band that is like completely self-funded and self-released and all. So I cherish that. I like to keep that and make good use of that.
You should. And in my opinion, I think as an independent band, you will make more money than if you are on a label, right?
Ah,
Like
for sure.
it's 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 all about what you're doing, right? The marketing, the strategies, all of those things rolled into one. and just keep going. I mean, look at Tech Nine, Ani DeFranco, like
Yeah.
two very prominent figures
Yeah.
that show you like independence is the way. I mean, both of them, I they're probably worth quite a bit of money, but like Ani and Tech both have their own labels. Everything that they do is theirs. There's
Exactly.
no one else has a hand in the business.
That's very precious, man. That's something they should cherish, and they probably will, right? It's not like late in their career they're gonna sign their shit to a label, and
Right.
that's the future, you know. We'll see how it goes.
I I agree. I think that's the future as well. Like we can get rid of a lot of the middlemen. The money will go to the artists where it
Exactly.
where it really needs to be. And we can actually perpetuate the art instead of trying to suck it dry.
Perfect. And I mean, there's the Spotify thing, which is like always a point of debate, right? Like it's like a money sucking machine, right? It's like, for example, uh, we have like have been a band for 7 years. We have like 5 releases or so. We have close to like I don't know 100,000 listens, in Spotify. And
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, I just saw like DistroKid, our page in DistroKid today. We had made $200 with streaming, you know, and we have sold in Bandcamp, I don't know, maybe like 50 or 60 digital copies of our records,
Yeah.
and we made like more than twice the money in
Yeah.
than we did in Spotify, right? And streamings in general. So it's a crazy thing. But as an independent band that just wants and needs to be listened by the more people, the merrier, right? We need to make a name for ourselves or so. It gets to a point that we don't care, like we sort of we are a slave to the industry or something in the sense that I'm not gonna be like a big band that has like control of their catalog and say, okay, I'm gonna move out of Spotify because it harms us. It harms us, but I need Spotify at the same time, as a tiny band that people will always question us like, okay, you just released a record, but you guys are not in Spotify. How do you want me to listen to you? In
Yeah.
Brazil, especially, Brazilians, they don't have like it's not usual for Brazilians to spend money in digital copies. You guys in America, it's you guys are used to that, and in Europe too, But in Brazil, they don't spend any money with digital copies.
I don't know that we spend money on digital copies here. I don't. I don't buy digital. Let me rephrase that. If if the band that I like only has a digital copy, I'll purchase a
Well,
digital copy. I prefer vinyl. That is my preferred
I know
way to support a band.
that,
And
and no,
go ahead.
go ahead. Sorry,
I was just going
go
to
ahead.
say on the Spotify argument, like I think in our day there was a lot of tape trading. Artists didn't make
Yeah,
any money tape trading. Those
exactly.
there were so many bootlegs out there, so it's I think Spotify is good for what it is if we don't look at it as a money as a source of income, right?
Perfect.
We
That's
use it
exactly it. Yeah,
just as a marketing tool.
yeah. And that's something, and that's the the thing. Like, I'd love to make we haven't done any vinyls of any of our records, and we've done like CDs for our first full record, Chains of Blue, and it didn't sell here in Brazil, because they are also like the thing right now for people who purchase music. It's like merch, like t-shirts and vinyl, but at the same time like to make vinyl in Brazil is like crazy expensive. It's like 10,000 bucks or something. And for an independent band, it's like to recoup this, it's a crazy thing, you know. But yeah, man, it's like there's always a little thing that you have to compromise, you know. I'd love to make vinyls one day, but we need to step up a little bit in the income, you know, and or maybe I don't know if that's how it works right now. Like if any label is like, okay, I'm gonna pay for your vinyl. I think it happens sometimes, you know, but it's
Mhm.
not something that we are actively looking for. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to make more physical copies, man, of our stuff. I'm
Band,
still a physical copy guy,
yeah, me too. Bandcamp does. You can do small runs of vinyls. I'm
but
not
not
sure.
for in Brazil. Yeah, it doesn't reach Brazil, but that's the perfect thing for me.
Really?
Like pre-ordering stuff, and when we get to like the minimum amount, they make the records, right? I think it works like that.
Yeah, it's like
Like
50 records.
exactly. Oh man, it's perfect. I'd love to do it, but they don't do it for bands in Brazil.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will send you some vinyl, some people who do vinyl, um, and you can like price it out. You can also do all of that yourself. Like go right
That's
to the
perfect.
manufacturer with your artwork and your stuff and put it together. So you can get, I mean, some places offer packages as small as like 10 albums. Um,
That's awesome. I'd love that. Please
but
send me. Yeah, sure.
yeah, you won't get you get the price break, I think about 200 or 300. Um, but even like
Yeah,
200 or 250 records is, in my mind, it's super affordable.
for sure. Awesome. I'd love for you to send me. Please do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I want some vinyl.
There you go. I'd love to sell some vinyl, man.
Rock and roll. So over the next 12 months, what's in store for the band?
We, I can tell you what I want for the next 12 months, but we never know what is in store, you know. I'd love to play live a little more for this record, you know, for Deep Sleep Metaphysics. We did like two or three concerts, you know, um, for many reasons. I'd love to try to put the band out there a little more, you know, here in Brazil, which is obviously much easier. But the truth is, like, we have like 10 times more listeners in the USA and Europe than in Brazil.
Sure.
Um, and I mean, for the 12 months, it's probably a stretch. But yeah, I'm gonna say that we'd love to play more, and especially in the USA and in Europe overall, you know, like make a really good concert because that's something that we always, you know, life always happen when we're getting like a good rhythm with rehearsals and then shit happens and then we stop and then I want to make another record, so it kind of starts again. But this time I think we're gonna be a little more patient and try to play a little more out there, and we'll see how it goes, man. If not, I'll just start writing again and start writing making another record because you know how it goes, man. That's me.
Yeah. Well, you
Yeah,
gotta keep moving forward, right? Whatever that is.
exactly.
So what bands are you listening to right now that you think other people should listen to?
Ooh, I like this kind of questions, man. You know, I don't think you'd never tell. I don't think you'd tell, but I'm a new metal guy, you know.
Okay.
I love new metal, you know. I mean, because it was like I grew up listening to new metal. So people say that the stuff that you grew up listening to, uh, like on your teens, like when you're 13 or 14, it sticks with you, you know. So I still have this really soft spot for modern metal, you know. Um, and there's this band that is super heavy, and but it kind of sprinkles a little bit of I'd say new metal or something, but they're super heavy and kind of more of a metalcore. And they should be, I mean, I think they should be way more popular. They're called Johnny Booth. Do you know
Okay.
them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love them. I've been listening to them like a lot. And on the stream side of the spectrum, I've been listening a lot to This Will Destroy You. You know that post-rock band?
Okay. I'm not super familiar with them.
Yeah, it's like one of more like ethereal, dreamy, trippy kind of post-rock, like with cleaner tones, not
Yeah.
like Russian circles post-rock. It's like really, really beautiful, really, really trippy, and I love this kind of music too. So it's like Johnny Booth's like super aggressive, like relentless, heavy. I love this kind of stuff too. And but This Will Destroy You is in a very different spectrum, and it's pretty great.
Right on. Well, I'm gonna have to check out This Will Destroy You.
Yeah, sure. I mean, do you like
There's
post-rock, the trippy stuff?
I do. I was just trying
There you
like
go.
there's a band that I just came across a couple of months ago. They're out of Sweden, I think. And I'm trying to think of their name and it's not coming to me. I'm like, oh shit.
No.
I feel like
If
an
you
asshole
remember, send it to me if you remember.
for sure. They're fantastic. I think they're on Pelagic Records with the Ocean and Mono and all those people.
Okay. There's this Brazilian band that's from Pelagic Records. They're friends of ours. They're called Labirinto,
Okay.
which is a post-rock band too. You should check them out. They're often a little on the heavier side too, but they're really good. They're really, really good.
I I really enjoy heavy stuff. Like, if you
Boom. Fucking love
right.
it too, man. Cannibal
Yeah.
Corpse. Yeah.
I'm all over the place. Like, obviously, I love the shit out of you guys. You guys have like, it's so beautiful and it's like the right amount of heavy where you're not like, well, this guitar is missing something or the vocals are missing something. Like everything just hits just right. But I look for, honestly, I look for a band that I can connect with emotionally, right? You get on the emotional level with music and it just draws you in, like being 13, 14 years old in those bands, like you're so emotionally connected to those bands that it's like you'll never forget how you felt the first time you listened to it.
That's perfect, man. That's what I always say. I mean, listening to music, it needs to be like an emotional like process, you know? You need to feel something. If I don't feel like if it doesn't take me somewhere emotionally, it's shit, you know? I don't give a fuck if they are like the best musicians in the world. If it
Right.
doesn't make me feel something intense, I just discard it, you know? And that's the best compliment that you could give us, man. Like it made you feel something that's I love it.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I think that's what to me, that's what music is all about. It makes the listener feel something. It could
Perfect.
be love, hate, rage, anger, whatever. If you can do that as a musician, then you've checked off all the boxes for the listener.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Yes.
So what's been like out of the concerts you've been to, what has been
Yeah.
like the your favorite band to see live? Or let me rephrase that. Maybe not your
Mm.
favorite band to see live, but the band that really blew you away that you weren't expecting.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's an easy one because you said that I wasn't expecting to be blown away. Godspeed You Black Emperor.
Oh
Do you know
yeah,
this band? Yeah.
I do.
Oh man, their live concert is so intense, like so big and so trippy. It kind of puts you in. You feel like in a different place, you know. I saw it in the festival that I loved it, Psycho Las Vegas, you know.
Oh yeah.
And I think they're done with, which is a shame because I loved it. And and I saw them there, which is, I mean, I liked the band before, but I didn't know what to expect from their live concert, and it blew me the fuck away. Like it was amazing, beautiful. Like it was more than music, the visual thing that they did. It was so like subtle, but also huge, It was awesome. Awesome.
That's awesome. So and that's hard to I feel like for a band that's really hard to translate a live show into a big like festival setting. Like
Exactly.
don't get me wrong, I love seeing bands in a festival setting, but to translate like to make someone go, "Oh my God, that was the one that absolutely blew me away," is that's really special for a band to do that.
Exactly, especially when you're not like one of those like super expect huge bands that they're gonna make like a big thing, oh Kiss or whatever, like those huge bands that are gonna like put fireworks or whatever, you kind of expect that. But when you come and you listen to this band that is not like a huge, huge band, you know, and they make something that feels huge for you, like without like production value going through the roof.
Yeah.
That's like that's masters of their craft. That's something that's not easy to achieve.
Yeah, no, and that's why I feel like that's why, like Godspeed You Black Emperor is at the um almost like legend level that they are
Yeah,
because they do that and they care so much about how the listeners experiences their show.
perfect. That's perfect. That's perfect. And it's like we said before. They found a way through their career to maintain their art pure. Intense, and it feels untouched by any outside forces, even in their record, sorry, even in their concerts. So that's awesome, man. That I respect that a lot.
For sure. Well, do you have any like big travel plans to go to shows coming up over the next few months?
Actually, I mean, I mean, we are music fans first, right? Me and my wife, which is the singer of Isaurian, we go to a bunch of stuff together, and we're going to Ginger,
Hmm.
the band. We're
Yep.
gonna watch them like in a week or so. Ginger and Heaven Shall Burn, which is something that I grew up listening to too. And also, This Will Destroy You. They're gonna play in São Paulo, and we plan on making a trip to watch them. There's also, I mean, this is like a top three band for me that I have never seen live, and my wife has seen live. It's also one of her favorite bands, and she said like, I'm gonna take you to watch them, which is Paradise Lost. They're gonna play a,
Okay.
a, a big festival here, yeah. And Paradise Lost has been it's like a top three band for me, and I had never seen them live. They played here in Brazil a bunch of times, but for whatever fucking reason, I have never seen them, and I can't wait to see them. It's gonna be in May next year.
That'll be awesome. I
Yeah.
I my wife said to me the other day, she goes, I'd ask you what bands are your bucket list bands, but I think you've seen everyone you've wanted to see. Like
Oh man, right?
pretty
Probably,
close. Yeah.
yeah.
Like the
Because
bands
in
that are
in
still
the
playing for sure.
Yeah, and I mean the USA, that's the beautiful one of the beautiful things of living in the U. I mean, you are in the USA, right?
Yeah.
It's I mean, but from the accent. And I mean, you guys, there are no shortage of bands playing there like for the whole year. In Brazil, a lot of great bands have never played in Brazil, and like, you know, but they usually they come sooner or later they come, like one of the bands that I mean, this divisive, but I grew up listening to them, so I went to a Limp Bizkit concert. They played Lollapalooza here,
Yeah.
and I fucking loved it, man. It was like it appealed to my teenage
Yeah.
self, like, and it was awesome, and it's just I still love it, man. Like watching bands that I have loved all my life, you know. It's what music is all about.
I'll tell you a funny Limp Bizkit story. When they
Yeah,
played
please.
Louder Than Life, not this year, they played last year, I think.
Yeah.
I had some friends come from out of town and we were like, like last year was a really good Louder Than Life year as far as headliners went. So my buddy and his wife and another buddy and his wife were all like hanging out and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna go up front for Limp Bizkit." And I'm like, "Hey, have fun." Like
Uh,
I'm
right?
I'm staying back
I'm
here.
gonna
I'm a
stay in the
little
back,
dude.
yeah.
Yeah.
You don't look like a Limp Bizkit guy. You know, you never know, but you're probably not.
No, I'm really not a big new metal guy.
I understand, man. It's fine. You know,
Yeah,
I I it, it, I think it kind of, you know, if I may say so, it's like sometimes I say you gotta kind of respect new metal because it was a ladder to get to for a bunch of kids to listen to like heavier stuff and more underground stuff. And it was like a very specific time in music, right? That we were like listening to super heavy riffs on the top one, you know,
yeah,
Billboard, and that's probably not going to happen again. So
it
I'm kind
will.
of nostalgic about that, you know.
It absolutely will. Like, cause
Do you think
music
so?
goes. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, look,
I
Gojira
hope you're
just
right,
played the
man.
Olympics. You know what I mean?
There you
Like,
go. There you go. Fuck
so
yeah.
it's
And it was awesome. It was fucking
yeah,
awesome.
for
Yeah.
sure. So divisive. Uh, so anyway, so my
Yeah.
buddy decides like he's a big dude. He's like 6'2", 6'3", like 280. He's a big guy. And
Yeah.
he's leading the pack to get up to the front for Limp Bizkit. Someone grabbed his leg and ripped his shoe off. Like,
What?
I'm, yeah, I'm like, dude,
Out
did
of
you
fucking
turn?
nowhere.
I said, did you turn around to get your shoe? He goes, nah, I didn't even think about it. I just kept going. Like, oh God.
That you know, that's the open air experience. That there's a bunch of wild stuff happening, right? In these big fucking festivals.
Yeah, dude, it's so wild.
That's Limp
They,
Bizkit energy, man.
yes, it is. And I'm like, that ain't for me. You know,
I know.
no,
I understand.
no thanks. I want to keep my shoes. Uh, he literally like I don't know. They were good shoes. They were good like running shoes, and he ended up walk like just leaving without any shoes on at all.
I mean, I respect the how cool he was with it. I'd probably be kind of pissed, even in a Limp Bizkit concert. Man, okay. So
Yeah,
he
for
went
sure.
home with no shoes.
Yeah, I was fucking with
Right.
him. I like we're sitting in this circle in our little area, and I took off my shoes and I was like, "Hey, look, dude, I want to be like you. No shoes."
That's why you're a good friend, man. That's right.
Yeah, yeah. I think we were kind of fucked up at the time. It was pretty funny.
That's right. I mean, who isn't fucked up by the end of a festival or whatever, you
Yeah,
know? I
yeah. I
mean,
mean,
I was fucked
there's
up
probably
in
a
Psycho
few,
Las
but
Vegas.
oh, I
Yeah.
bet. Was that your first time in Vegas?
It was not my first time in Vegas, but it was like the first time like really experiencing Vegas, you know. It was the first trip that I did with my now wife, then girlfriend, you know. So we were like, fuck yeah, man, let's fucking do this. And it's like probably the only big festival that I went. And it's like my kind of festival because I'm a little mostly in spirit, but I'm a little too old for this shit in the sense like
Yeah,
this really huge open air stuff. Like I'm oh fuck, it's either gonna rain or a bunch of dust and too much people and lines and I'm kind of too introspective for this kind of stuff. And I like I'm kind of I like comfort. I don't like
yeah,
luxury or whatever, but I like comfort. And Psycho Las Vegas was like the perfect balance. A bunch of amazing bands, like super heavy and super trippy and more alternative stuff, but also in this, it was in the Mandalay Bay, right? Like you could go to the air conditioner and chill a little bit. if you're tired and play some shitty jackpot, whatever, in the
Yeah.
casino, and then head back and watch an amazing band. It was like the thing for me. And it's a shame that I think they're over, man. It kind of sucks.
Yeah, well, I think now they're doing Sick New World, and there's another one, when we were young, which is like the
Oh yeah, yeah.
pop punk emo thing, and then
Pop punk, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think Sick New World's more in the, they're in the heavier vein. I think
Yeah.
Down is
It
playing
started
this
really like a
year.
new metal kind of thing, and then it kind of expanded for heavier stuff, like different stuff.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a crazy festival, right? It's like 40 bands, 50 bands in a day, right?
Yeah, like what?
It's, what? How do they do that? How is that mathematically possible, You gotta give up like 40 of the bands in the roster, right?
Yeah.
In the lineup. And it
Well,
kind of sucks to me, yeah.
soup, yeah, me too, right? But probably
Yeah,
super short sets, like 30-ish minutes, so they can
exactly.
hustle the bands through. Like we just
Yeah.
did the Headbangers Boat. So
Okay.
4-day cruise, Lamb of God headlined. We went to Dominican Republic and back, and
That's awesome.
15 bands. They had 15 bands on there. So like some of the bands played 3 sets, some of them played 2 sets. So you could literally go and see every band on there at some point during the week. So
That's awesome.
yeah, in my mind, it was like perfect.
Yeah. Perfect. That sounds like my thing, man. Probably I'll trade Cycle Las Vegas for a Headbangers Bowl experience. That sounds good.
You should go out next year. It'll be fun.
That's awesome. I'll consider, man, for sure.
Yeah, talk to your wife. Be like, hey, we're going on Headbangers Boat. We leave out
She,
of
she,
Miami.
she's gonna love it, man. She's like she's gonna be even more excited than me. That's for sure.
Right on. Uh, George, dude, thank you. I greatly
We, we,
appreciate your
we we
time.
talked for like an hour, right? That's awesome,
Yeah,
dude. Thank you so much. You are such a cool guy. So easy to talk to. That's awesome. Prepared. You knew the band. That's awesome, man. I had a great time talking to you.
hell yeah, I had a great time as well. I'm gonna say I look forward to seeing you on the boat next year. So please be on the
Oh
boat.
man, that's so you'll be there.
Oh, 100%. I already bought my tickets.
That's awesome. So I mean, I'll do our best, but we'll see there for sure. We'll have a few beers together. I hope so.
I don't drink.
So we have a few bottles
We'll
of
have,
water together.
yeah,
Or some liquid death, man. I'd love to try some liquid death. I love this name, So we'll have some liquid deaths together.
yeah, we'll definitely do that. The marketing behind that is perfect. But yeah, and
Yeah,
like you get on the boat, we'll do an in-person interview in my room.
that's awesome for sure. It's a deal, man.
Hell yeah. George, have a great night. Tell your wife she's got a
You too,
great
man.
voice.
I'll tell you. I'll tell her. Thank you so much. She's an amazing singer, dude. It's like one of the things I always try to get the full potential of her voice in the records. It's like unlimited. She's great. I'm gonna tell her to say that.
Absolutely, man. Have a great night.
Thank you so much. You too, buddy. See
Thanks.
ya.
See ya.